And of course, then this submarine would still be out there in the picket lines, and after they had this big exchange, this decisive battle, they would pick off the stragglers as they went back.
The ocean holds secrets few could ever imagine, but none as stunning as the discovery of hundreds of lost Nazi submarines hidden for decades beneath the waves. For years, their locations and purpose remained a mystery, baffling historians and naval experts alike. But when advanced AI finally uncovered their positions, what lay inside revealed a hidden world of secrets, technology, and dark plans. Join us as we uncover the stunning truth that could rewrite history forever. The eye breakthrough everything began the moment a quiet group of technicians placed their new artificial intelligence system online, hoping to test it on old military data. They expected nothing more than blurry pictures and forgotten files, but what showed up on their screens that night sent chills through the entire room. The AI started picking up long, dark objects buried deep in the ocean. At first, the team assumed it was a mistake. The shapes looked too perfect, too neatly arranged, almost like someone had purposely placed them there. The system kept highlighting the same pattern over and over, and with every scan, the shapes multiplied across different parts of the world. Within minutes, the AI flagged more than 100 unusual forms, all sharing the same size, the same structure, and the same silent presence hiding under miles of water. The team leaned closer to their monitors, their hearts racing, because the more the AI revealed, the more the truth became impossible to ignore. These were not random underwater rocks or broken ships. They were submarines, and not just any submarines. The design, the length, the metallic outline, everything matched the exact look of the old German U-boats from the Second World War. But that wasn't even the frightening part. Most of these submarines had been missing for over 70 years, erased from wartime records, never recovered, never found. Yet here, they were, resting quietly in the shadows of the ocean floor, untouched and strangely organized, as if someone had lined them up and then vanished. The technicians froze. Historians called in to confirm the findings were stunned. Naval experts were speechless. No one expected the AI to reveal such a massive hidden fleet. The ocean had kept these vessels locked away for generations, and humans had completely missed them. But the AI didn't miss a single detail. It traced the positions, mapped the outlines, and even recognized strange markings painted on the hulls. The patterns didn't match anything in history books, leaving people to wonder what mission these submarines were meant for and why so many disappeared at the exact same time. And just when everyone thought the discovery had reached its peak, the AI flagged something even stranger. Some of the submarines were showing faint internal energy signals, the kind that should have vanished decades ago. It was like walking into an abandoned house and finding the lights still glowing. The divers who prepared to investigate said the situation felt like stepping into a story that someone never wanted the world to hear. People started asking questions the AI could not answer. Why were these submarines grouped in tight clusters, almost like pieces of a puzzle? Why did they look sealed, not destroyed or damaged like normal wrecks? And if the war ended more than 7 decades ago, then what exactly was locked inside them all this time? Every clue the AI uncovered made the story darker, deeper, and far more unsettling. By now, the world felt like it was holding its breath. It wasn't just about the submarines anymore. It was about what they represented. It was about the secrets they carried. It was about the possibility that something far bigger had been hidden beneath the waves, waiting for technology advanced enough to finally reveal it. People watched every new update with pounding hearts, knowing that whatever the divers found inside those steel giants could completely rewrite everything they thought they understood about the war, the soldiers, and the missions that never made it into the history books. And this was only the beginning. The Ghost Fleet. The moment the first exploration team reached the coordinates, everyone watching felt the weight of history pressing against them. The ocean was calm on the surface, but underneath it lay something far from peaceful. As the drones slipped into the water, their lights cut through the darkness like tiny stars, and slowly, the outlines of the first submarine appeared. It stretched across the seabed like a giant sleeping creature, untouched by time. Then, another one appeared beside it, then another, and another. It didn't take long before the divers realized the AI hadn't exaggerated at all. A massive cluster of submarines sat silently in the deep, arranged in ways no one expected. Some were lined up neatly in rows, while others sat, slightly tilted, but all looked strangely intact, almost frozen in the exact state they had been when the war ended. The team felt a cold shiver run through them, because nothing about this ghost fleet made sense. Many of these submarines had been recorded as destroyed or lost during battles, yet here they were, perfectly preserved, as if the ocean had kept them safe. Their metal frames looked dark and heavy, but not ruined. The symbols painted on their bodies stood out clearly, even after decades underwater. The divers moved slowly, careful not to disturb anything, and the deeper they went, the more unsettling the scene became. It felt like looking at a forgotten army, waiting patiently for someone to return. The cameras sent the footage up to the ships above, and experts gathered around the screens with wide eyes and quiet voices. No one had seen anything like this before. The formation was too organized to be accidental. It looked planned, almost intentional. Historians whispered that the fleet might have been part of a secret mission that never reached its destination. Some believed the submarines were supposed to meet somewhere. Others suggested they were hiding something. But what confused everyone most was the number. They expected a handful, yet the ocean floor held dozens upon dozens, stretching far beyond the edges of the drone's lights. As the drones explored further, the scale of the discovery became overwhelming. Submarine after submarine appeared from the shadows, each one carrying the same chilling silence. The ocean didn't feel empty anymore. It felt crowded, as if the past itself was rising from the deep. Even the marine life avoided the area, swimming around the cluster but never through it, almost like they sensed something humans couldn't understand. Then something unexpected happened. One drone drifted past a broken hatch, and inside, the light revealed a glimpse of the interior. The walls were still lined with equipment. The floor looked undisturbed. Some objects floated gently, trapped by time. It felt like walking into a hidden room sealed by history itself. The divers paused, realizing they were the first humans in decades to see inside one of these vessels. Every second felt heavy, every movement careful, every breath slow. The AI continued mapping the area from above, sending fresh alerts as it uncovered even more clusters close by. The number kept rising, turning what began as a small discovery into something massive, something global, something too big to ignore. It wasn't just a ghost fleet anymore, it was a buried story stretching across oceans and continents. A story with missing pages, locked doors, and answers that had waited far too long. The world watched in silence, trying to understand why so many submarines were hidden together at the bottom of the sea. And if this many vessels were found in one place, how many more were still waiting to be uncovered in other waters? The mystery grew, heavier by the minute, and everyone knew that the real shock would come not from the submarines themselves, but from what they might be carrying inside. The stunning first dive mission. The moment the divers prepared to enter the first submarine, the mood shifted completely. Everything felt heavier, almost like the ocean knew they were crossing a boundary that had been sealed for more than 7 decades. The lights from the drones floated through the dark water, dancing over the steel exterior of the vessel, making it look both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The divers hovered near the cracked hatch, breathing slowly, trying to steady their nerves. No one spoke. They didn't need to. Every person watching, whether from inside the control room or through the live feed, felt the same strange mix of excitement and dread. They were about to step into a place untouched by human presence since the end of one of the darkest periods in history. The broken hatch was just wide, enough for one diver to slip through. The edges were worn and jagged, like they had been forced open long ago. No one could tell if it had been from water pressure or human hands. The moment the first diver glided inside, the entire control room held its breath. The camera attached to his helmet flickered for a second as the light adjusted to the cramped space. Slowly, the inside of the submarine came into view, revealing a narrow corridor that seemed to stretch forever into the shadows. Dust-like particles floated gently, swirling around the beam of the flashlight, giving the whole place a ghostly glow. The walls were lined with rusted pipes and old equipment, some bent, some still intact. What surprised everyone was how much of it remained in place. Nothing looked smashed or torn apart by explosions like most wartime wrecks. It looked more like the submarine had been carefully abandoned. The diver moved slowly, careful not to touch anything, but even the slightest movement sent tiny clouds of debris drifting around him. Every inch of the corridor told a story no one had heard before. Every shadow felt like it held a secret waiting to be uncovered. When the diver reached the first doorway, he paused. The room ahead looked untouched. Metal shelves hung on the wall, and small objects floated in the still water. The camera zoomed in as he entered, revealing items that had not been touched since the 1940s. Tools, old wires, cracked gauges, and what looked like personal belongings drifted softly in the quiet water. A small metal cup, a broken pen, and a piece of torn fabric that might have once been part of a uniform moved gently when the diver passed. These tiny pieces of the past felt strangely emotional, as if the people who once lived inside this submarine had left in a hurry, never expecting their possessions to be found so many years later. The deeper the diver went, the more intense the atmosphere became. The submarine felt like a frozen world, a place that time forgot. The team watching the footage started whispering among themselves, trying to understand why everything looked so preserved. Most shipwrecks deteriorate quickly underwater, but this one seemed almost protected. Some said it was the depth. Others believed the metal used during the war was unusually strong. But the silence around the wreck suggested a different kind of mystery, something no one wanted to say out loud. As the diver moved toward the central control room, the tension grew even sharper. The narrow hallway opened up into a larger space, with multiple panels, levers, and rusted buttons. The layout matched old pictures of German U-boats, but something felt off. The arrangement of the controls looked slightly different, like it was modified or customized. The diver hovered over the main console, shining his light over strange markings carved into the metal surface. They didn't match normal labels. They didn't match known symbols either. They looked like coded instructions, placed there with intention. The control room held more than old machines. Floating in the corner was a sealed canister, still locked tight. It looked almost untouched by time. The diver reached out carefully, brushing away the layer of sediment surrounding it. The control team gasped when they saw that the canister had unfamiliar markings. They checked old diagrams, old maps, old documents, but nothing matched. This piece of equipment wasn't in any historical archive. Whatever it was, it didn't belong to the standard design of wartime submarines. And if it wasn't part of the original structure, then someone had placed it there for a specific reason. As the diver secured the canister for retrieval, the AI detected another alert inside the submarine. It pointed the team toward a sealed compartment at the rear of the vessel. This part of the submarine was harder to access, and the divers needed to move through tighter spaces to reach it. The hallway twisted in awkward angles, like the structure had been altered intentionally. When the diver finally reached the sealed compartment, he realized the door was reinforced far more than the rest of the submarine. It looked newer, stronger, almost like it had been upgraded before the vessel vanished. It took several minutes for the diver to get the hatch open, and when it finally gave way, the camera captured something that made everyone freeze. Inside the compartment were rows of small metal crates, neatly stacked and locked in place. They were arranged with precise order, each one identical, each one carrying the same strange symbol that appeared earlier on the control panel. The crates had not moved, not even slightly, despite decades underwater. The diver shined his light on them, and the reflection gave off a dull shimmer, suggesting a material not commonly used at the time. The room felt colder than the rest of the submarine, and the diver's hand sensor showed a slight temperature drop, which made no sense in a contained underwater wreck. Something inside those crates seemed to affect the environment around them. The control team stared at the screens in silence, unable to guess what sat inside those sealed boxes. Then, as the diver turned, the camera caught something unexpected near the far wall. A metal notebook floated gently, its cover worn but still intact. The diver reached for it, and the entire room held its breath again. This was the first time any written material had appeared inside the submarine. The notebook was carefully sealed in a waterproof pouch, suggesting someone had tried to protect it before the submarine was lost. No one knew what was inside the notebook, but everyone understood one thing: the crates, the symbols, the reinforced door, the untouched equipment, none of it matched normal wartime operations. This submarine wasn't abandoned. It was prepared, it was sealed, it was hidden. And this was only one submarine out of hundreds the AI had found. If this one held such strange secrets, what were the others hiding? What story had been buried beneath the ocean for so many years? What truth had waited in the dark, kept safe by the sea until the day technology became advanced enough to uncover it? Whatever was inside those crates, whatever was written in that notebook, whatever these submarines were built to do, the world was about to learn something it had never been meant to discover. Keep watching to find out what was inside the crates, the secret cargo. The moment the notebook and metal crates were brought to the surface, a new kind of electricity filled the air. Everyone on the ship felt it, a quiet pressure that wrapped around them like the ocean itself was watching. People moved slowly, almost cautiously, as if they were handling something alive. The crates sat on the deck, gleaming faintly under the ship's lights, still sealed shut with the strange symbols stamped across each one. The divers, who carried them up, couldn't stop glancing back at them, like the boxes were whispering secrets they weren't ready to hear. Technicians gathered around the notebook first, since it seemed like the easiest place to start. It was old, delicate, and sealed in a waterproof pouch that clearly wasn't part of the original submarine design. Whoever hid it had taken their time to protect it. When the pouch opened, the smell of old paper drifted into the air, a soft reminder of how long this little book had been waiting. The pages inside were covered in tight writing, lines of notes, sketches, and symbols no one recognized right away. Some pages held quick drawings of parts, shapes of machines, and outlines of other submarines. The handwriting was rushed, almost nervous, like the person writing it was racing against time. One of the sketches immediately caught everyone's attention. It showed a map of several oceans, dots marking locations in patterns that lined up disturbingly well with the places the AI had recently detected. The realization hit everyone at the same moment. These submarines were not lost randomly. They had been placed, positioned, hidden with intention, following a pattern someone had drawn long before they vanished. The notebook grew stranger with every turn of the page. There were notes describing unusual equipment, power sources that didn't match any known technology from the 1940s, and instructions written in a code no one could decode on the spot. Near the center of the notebook, the sketches became darker and more frantic. It was as if the writer began to panic. The last few entries looked like warnings, and even though the words were hard to understand, the emotion behind them was unmistakable. Something inside those submarines had frightened even the people who placed it there. While the notebook stirred confusion and fear, the crates on the deck carried a different kind of tension altogether. Their cold metal surfaces looked almost too perfect for something that had rested underwater for decades. When technicians scanned them, the results made everyone uneasy. The crates were made of a reinforced material far stronger than anything used in the war. No corrosion, no cracks, not even a scratch. It was like time had refused to touch them. As the team prepared to open the first crate, the ocean felt strangely quiet around the ship. Everyone moved slower, choosing their tools carefully. Some people watched from a safe distance, gripping the railing with anxious hands. Others leaned close, eyes fixed on the sealed lid. When the final lock loosened and the top began to shift, the entire ship seemed to hold its breath all at once. Inside the crate was a layer of thick padding that looked newer than the metal container itself. The padding protected a small object wrapped tightly in dark fabric. The shape was odd, not a weapon, not machinery, something different. The fabric unwrapped slowly, and underneath it lay a metallic cylinder with faint engravings that matched the symbols found inside the submarine. It gave off a dull pulse of light when the flashlight hit it, like something inside was reacting to the surface air. The cylinder felt heavier than it looked, almost unnaturally weighted. No one could tell what it was supposed to do. It didn't match any item in wartime archives. It didn't match common technology. It didn't even match the style of known prototypes. The material seemed unfamiliar, and the smooth surface felt almost too refined, as if it belonged to a period far beyond the 1940s. Whatever this object was, it had been hidden for a reason. The second crate held something completely different, adding even more confusion. Inside it, a stack of metal plates lay organized in neat layers, each one engraved with the same repeating symbol. But when the plates were scanned, they revealed traces of energy still preserved inside them. Weak but present energy that should have disappeared long ago. Scientists on board exchanged uneasy glances. It didn't make any sense. Nothing that old should still carry power. The third crate offered a discovery even more unsettling. It contained several notebooks similar to the first one, but these were all blank, completely empty, except for the symbols stamped on their covers. Why would someone hide empty notebooks inside a sealed compartment? Were they waiting to be filled, or were they meant to replace something? No one knew, and the lack of answers only made everything feel more disturbing. As the crates continued to reveal their secrets, a pattern started to form, one that connected the notebook, the symbols, the materials, and the precise positions of the submarines. Whatever mission this fleet had been preparing for was far bigger than ordinary wartime operations. The equipment wasn't meant for simple transport or defense. It felt like preparation for something long-term, something secret, something meant to stay hidden until the right moment. People on the ship began to whisper possibilities, each one scarier than the last. Some believed these submarines were carrying experimental technology meant to be used if the war was lost. Others suggested they were part of a backup plan, a hidden project meant to be activated years after the conflict. A few whispered that the fleet wasn't meant to return at all. They were designed to disappear. But the truth was probably far stranger. And the more they uncovered, the more one question grew louder in everyone's mind. If these crates held such mysterious items after decades underwater, then what were the other submarines hiding? The world had seen only the smallest piece of this massive puzzle. The deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became that these vessels held a story no one had ever been allowed to hear. And the most shocking discoveries were still waiting in the dark, the hidden connections. Even after the discreet port, divers had explored a few submarines, and the AI had mapped countless others. The more the team looked at the data, the stranger everything became. Patterns started to emerge that no one expected. The submarines weren't scattered randomly across the ocean floor. They were grouped in clusters, arranged with a precision that suggested planning far beyond ordinary military strategy. Each formation seemed designed to be hidden, but still accessible, like someone had left clues for the future, yet wanted the vessels to remain invisible for decades. The AI's analysis showed routes linking each cluster across different seas, almost like a web. Whoever had built this fleet had thought of everything: location, depth, spacing, even protection from natural decay. It wasn't just about building submarines, it was about creating a hidden underwater network, a secret the world was only now beginning to uncover. Historians and naval experts watching the scans grew uneasy. Some said it looked like the Nazis had prepared a backup plan in case the war was lost, an operation meant to continue somewhere far from Europe. Others whispered that these submarines could have carried experiments, forbidden technologies, or even stolen treasures meant for later retrieval. The scale of the plan was staggering. Hundreds of submarines, each carefully maintained in secret locations, each one seemingly ready to be opened only when the right moment came, suggested a level of foresight almost impossible to imagine. The AI had started connecting dots between the submarines, and with each connection, the picture of a massive secret operation began to form. As the diving teams moved from one vessel to another, they noticed similarities that added to the mystery. The interiors weren't random. Certain compartments had identical layouts, and some held the same types of crates, documents, or mysterious containers. Even symbols etched into the metal repeated from one submarine to another. It was as if every single vessel was part of a coordinated system, built not only for war, but for something more complex and hidden. Divers reported a strange feeling of intentionality, like the submarines were almost waiting to be discovered in a certain order by someone who could decode the secrets inside. The thought made everyone uneasy. This wasn't just history being revealed, it felt like history had been deliberately concealed, with layers of meaning designed to stay secret for generations. The AI even detected something unusual in the way some submarines were preserved. Certain clusters showed traces of materials or energy that didn't match natural decay. It was as if whoever hid these submarines had applied advanced preservation methods, ensuring the contents would survive decades underwater. This suggested that whatever they carried was extremely important, possibly dangerous, and certainly meant to remain hidden until modern technology could find it. It wasn't random. It wasn't careless. It was a plan meticulously executed, stretching from wartime desperation to the modern day. As experts pieced together the patterns, the reality became chilling. The fleet wasn't just a remnant of war. It was a secret network, a hidden plan that had survived decades, and the world was only now starting to see its true scale. And if hundreds of submarines were already discovered in one region, who knew how many more lay hidden in other oceans, waiting silently for AI or the next brave explorer to uncover their secrets? Every new scan, every recovered crate, every strange marking reinforced a single fact. The Nazis had left more than lost ships behind. They had left a dark, deliberate design, a hidden operation that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about their final days and the secrets they carried beneath the waves. Keep watching to know what happened in their final days. The final revelation. As the AI scanned the remaining submarines, the scale of the hidden fleet became impossible to ignore. Hundreds of vessels, long thought lost, sat silently across oceans, each preserved and sealed for decades. But the biggest shock awaited inside. Diving teams entered one of the largest submarines, guided by AI, to a previously overlooked chamber. There, rows of crates stood perfectly aligned. Some contained prototype weapons, others strange devices far ahead of the 1940s. The divers felt an overwhelming weight, as if history itself was holding its breath. Every crate, every object, told a story no one had been meant to see. The AI revealed more than just what was inside. It traced patterns connecting submarines across distant oceans, supply routes, hidden caches, even precise locations, suggesting a secret Nazi operation that could have survived long after the war ended. Maps, coded instructions, and carefully preserved documents hinted at plans far more ambitious than anyone imagined. This wasn't merely lost machinery. It was a deliberate network, a system of hidden vessels and cargo waiting silently for discovery. Experts around the world scrambled to analyze the findings. Historians speculated about secret missions and stolen treasures. Scientists studied the preserved technology. The public watched in awe as footage of the wrecks spread online. For decades, the ocean had swallowed these secrets, hiding them in darkness. Now, AI and brave divers had finally opened a door to the past, revealing a hidden layer of history no one had seen before. And the most chilling thought? Hundreds more submarines could still be out there, each potentially holding discoveries that could rewrite our understanding of Second World War. The fleet wasn't just a relic, it was a carefully hidden operation, a legacy of secrecy, lying silently beneath the waves, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered. The ocean had guarded these mysteries for decades, and now humanity was only beginning to glimpse the truth. So, what do you think lies in the depths of these hidden submarines? Could their secrets rewrite everything we know about Second World War? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.